All right, guys, it's Miss Katz again, and today I'm just going to give you a brief overview of the order of operations and do a couple of example problems so that we can make sure that we understand how to use them and what the expectations are of your solutions as you work through a problem using order of operations. So first of all, the order of operations is an order in the way that we will actually do a math problem. So it's designed to make sure that no matter who does this problem, no matter where it's done, we can all end up at the exact same solution. So the order of operations looks like this. Number one, we do anything parentheses related. I don't like to just say parentheses because it's any grouping symbol. Okay, these are any grouping symbols. And we talked about in class that there are lots of different ways to group numbers, one of which might be parentheses, one of which might be brackets, one might be braces, and you also can consider the fraction bar. Let's just say that this is a fraction and this is the fraction bar. It also acts as a grouping symbol. We do whatever's on top and whatever's on the bottom before we actually do the division. So number one is parentheses. Now in PEMDAS, which is where we what the mnemonic device we usually use to remember this, the P stands for parentheses. So P in PEMDAS is for parentheses. All right, then we move on to the E, PEMDAS. E stands for exponents. That will always come next. Okay, and exponents are the things we just talked about in the last video. They are the little tiny numbers that sit up above a base that tell us how many times to repeat a base as a factor. And don't forget that x squared would mean that whatever x is, we multiply it times itself 2 times, because that exponent says to repeat the base as a factor twice. Okay. Now this is the part where I lose PEMDAS just a little bit. I'm not a real big fan of it because MD comes next, and we tend to think of M and D as two separate things where multiplication comes before division, and that's just not true. They actually go from left to right. They're a group. Okay? Notice I made them the same color. Neither of them is more important than the other. Neither comes before the other. They both are in the same group, and we do them from left to right, whichever comes first at this stage of the game. Okay? So this is number 3, multiplication and division as a group from left to right, and that's really important. Okay, do not forget that. Then the last piece of our order of operations puzzle is the AS in PEMDAS. That stands for adding and subtracting. And again, these guys go from left to right. Okay, so adding does not come before subtracting. They work together as a group from left to right. Okay, please do not forget that. PEMDAS leads us to believe that the M comes before the D or the A comes before the S. That's not true. First, you're going to work parentheses, then you're going to work exponents, then you'll work any multiplication or division problems that you have in your expression from left to right, just like you read a book. Then you will do any adding and subtracting from left to right. Okay, that is the basic order of operations. That is the algorithm that we use that allows us to get the same answer to any given problem, no matter who does it, anywhere in the world. Okay, let's do a couple problems so you can see what it is exactly I'm looking for as you complete some of these order of operations problems. Okay, so for the first example, I am going to do this one. 3 minus 1 in parentheses, that's a quantity, or a difference of 3 minus 1. Plus 6 times 3. So we're going to go through PEMDAS, and I'm just going to put a little cheat sheet, which I highly recommend you do on your paper so that you don't forget what you're doing. So let's go through what we got. So do we have any parentheses? Absolutely. Now I want you guys to see that each row, I'm only going to change one thing. So we know parentheses comes first. So I'm going to make that 3 minus 1 equal to 2. And then everything else in the problem is going to remain the same. Now we have adding or multiplying. which one comes first? The multiplying will come first because it comes before adding in the order of operations. So we're going to do the multiplying. That makes that 18. And everything else stays the same. And then the final step here is to add the last two things, and the answer here is 20. Okay? Notice that your answers tend to form a little V. I kind of think of it as a funnel, where it funnels the problem out. Some people call it a little pizza triangle or a Dorito chip. Any way that you look at it, we are slowly but surely simplifying that expression until we're down to one solution. Okay? Keep this little cheat sheet always to your left or to your right or at the top of your paper so you can always remember what order we're looking for. Let's try a couple more and just make sure that you've got it down. So the next problem I would like to try is this one. It is 90 divided by 9 minus 5 plus 8. All right, order of operations. We've got division, subtraction, and addition here. Order of operations tells us that division is going to come before addition and subtraction. So we're going to divide first, and that becomes 10. Everything else stays the same. Okay, then we know that adding and subtracting are a group, and we go from left to right. So this part is going to hit first. So 10 minus 5 is 5. Everything else stays the same. And the final answer to this particular problem is 13. Notice again, it makes a nice little funnel. Okay, I'm going to do the next problem over here just so you can see how they're related. Let's just say that we have 2 plus 4 squared minus 3 plus 2. That's our original problem. Again, we go back to the order of operations. The very top thing is parentheses. Well, we have some, so we're going to do that problem first. So that becomes a 5. Everything else stays the same. Now we go on to the order of operations. It says exponents. Well, we've got one of those. 4 squared means 4 times 4, which is 16. Everything else stays the same. Then we do addition and subtraction, because that's what we got left, from left to right. So we're going to start here. 2 plus 16 makes 18, and we still have to subtract this 5. And when we do, our final answer is 13. Again, we've made that nice little funnel. Okay, that's the basic fundamentals of how to apply the order of operations to solve a given expression. Please make sure that you're following those steps, because that's the only way to get full credit on the problems that you do in my class. Hope this is helpful. See you guys in class soon.